Every morning, a man parks an old car in the same lot. Faded paint, a small dent on the back bumper. The people who walk past it feel a little sorry for him. They figure he's behind, maybe living paycheck to paycheck, maybe one bad month away from real trouble. They're wrong about all of it. His house is paid off. His kid's college is already covered. His investment account holds more than most of his coworkers will earn in their entire careers. And he drives that old car on purpose. Here's the part almost nobody wants to hear. In that same parking lot, the people who look wealthy and the people who actually are wealthy are almost never the same people. That gap is the whole story. And once you see it, you can't unsee it in any car, any watch, or any dollar you spend. So let's talk about it. For years, you've been sold one simple idea. Rich people look rich. If you've made it, you show it. So you feel the pull. A nicer car, a newer phone, the brand everyone recognizes on sight. And on the days you don't buy it, a quiet voice tells you you're slipping behind everyone else. That voice is lying to you. Looking a little poor might be the smartest money move you ever make. This isn't about being cheap. It's about noticing a game that most people play their whole lives without ever realizing they're in it. Two researchers spent decades studying real millionaires across America. What they found broke almost every assumption people carry. 80% of millionaires are first generation. They didn't inherit the money, they built it. Half of them had lived in the same house for over 20 years. And the price they paid for their cars? A median of about $31,000. That's a solid, ordinary, reliable car. Not a status badge. Sit with that for a second. The people quietly winning with money are driving past you in something completely forgettable. Now look at the other side. An automotive study by Experian found that most people earning over $250,000 a year drive a Honda, a Toyota, or a Ford, not a Mercedes. Meanwhile, plenty of people earning far less stretch for the luxury car anyway. They spend $60,000 on the vehicle while making $50,000 a year. One group looks wealthy, the other group is wealthy. See the pattern? So, why do the real ones stay quiet? Because every dollar you own can do exactly one of two jobs. It can buy a signal, something that tells strangers you're doing well. Or it can go to work and grow. It cannot do both. And the people who grow it choose the same thing again and again. They stay boring on the outside so the money can get loud on the inside. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people alive, still lives in the house he bought back in 1958 for about $31,000. Some of the founders of the biggest companies on earth drove plain, unremarkable cars for years while they were worth billions. These aren't people who can't afford better. They simply decided that looking wealthy wasn't worth the cost of being wealthy. Here's the quiet truth about luxury. A $50 watch tells the time. A $50,000 watch tells the exact same time. That extra money didn't buy you better minutes. It bought you a message aimed at people you may never even meet. So ask yourself something honest. How many of your recent purchases were really for you and how many were for the audience? Let's put a real number on this because a number makes it impossible to shrug off. Say you're choosing between a $30,000 car and an $80,000 one. The gap is $50,000. Invest that $50,000 instead at around 7% a year, which is roughly what the stock market has averaged over the long run. And in 25 years, it grows into about $270,000. That's the real price tag on looking rich, not 50 grand. $250,000. What you just saw is opportunity cost, which is just a plain way of saying what you give up by choosing one thing over another. And it runs on compounding, which is when your money earns money, and then that money earns money too. Picture a snowball rolling downhill. It starts tiny and slow, then it's suddenly enormous. Every status symbol you buy is a snowball you chose never to start. And it isn't only the big purchases, it's the small, constant ones too. The upgrade you didn't need, the subscription you forgot about, the daily habit that feels like nothing. Spread over decades, these little choices quietly add up to a fortune you handed away one swipe at a time. There's another cost that never shows up on the price sticker. Visibility itself. When you look wealthy, you turn into a target. Research on identity theft finds that the more assets you appear to have, the more likely you are to be hit. Criminals go where the money looks like it's sitting. Looking ordinary is a kind of quiet armor. Nobody bothers breaking into the house they assume is empty. And it runs deeper than money. When people believe you have a lot, everything around you shifts. They expect you to grab the check. They wonder out loud why you still bother working. Some of them quietly start to resent you. The person who looks average keeps something you can never buy back once it's gone. Real relationships. Friends who like them, not their bank balance. Have you ever wondered whether someone valued you or your wallet? The quietly wealthy person never has to. Looking ordinary even saves you money in plain daylight. A car dealer treats someone in a beat-up sedan very differently from someone who rolls up in a Mercedes. A contractor quotes a different number based on the neighborhood in the driveway. Buffett once said nobody ever tried to overcharge him because nobody knew he was rich. When you look like you can pay anything, you get charged like it. When you look ordinary, you pay the ordinary price. Over a lifetime, that difference alone is a small fortune. There's a work advantage hiding in here too. If your boss assumes you need the job, you have room to breathe. But the real power is quieter than that. You can take risks a desperate person can't afford to take. You can walk away from a bad deal without blinking, because your security is real even when your appearance stays humble. Now here's the trap that keeps people spending forever. It's called hedonic adaptation, which is a fancy phrase for something you already know in your gut. You get used to nice things fast. The new car thrills you for a couple of weeks. Then it's just the car. The watch impresses you for a month. Then it goes invisible, even to you. So the buyer needs a new hit, a newer phone, a bigger house. The upgrade never ends. It's a treadmill. You run and stay in the exact same spot, while the money that could have bought real freedom keeps disappearing. Invisible wealth works the opposite way. A growing account gives you a calm that doesn't fade out. You sleep a little easier. You know deep down that you could handle an emergency. That feeling never wears off because it isn't a thing you bought. It's a foundation you built. Let me show you the whole idea in one comparison. Two people each earn $200,000 a year. The first saves a quarter of it and lives a normal, unflashy life. Over 25 years at about 7%, they end up with roughly $3.4 million. The second saves only 5% and spends the rest looking successful. Same income, remember. They end up with around $680,000. One of them looks middle class. One of them looks rich. And after 25 years, the one who looked middle class has 5 times the money. 5 times the options. The one who looked rich has a closet full of things and a retirement that can't hold him. Both of them made choices. Only one of them made choices that grow. Something in the culture is starting to catch up to this. The loud logos are fading and quiet. Understated wealth is becoming the thing people actually respect. More and more, the flex is having so much that you don't need to prove any of it. That shift isn't about fashion. It's people slowly realizing that visible wealth carries costs that invisible wealth quietly avoids. So let's go back to that old car in the parking lot. The people who notice it and feel a little superior, a lot of them will work until they're 70 because they were never given a choice. The person driving it could stop tomorrow. That's the whole secret. Success was never the thing you can point to. Success is the freedom you bought with the money you refuse to spend. It isn't what you show, it's what you keep. So the next time you feel that pull to prove something with a purchase, just pause. Ask who it's really for. Because looking a little poor isn't falling behind at all. It's often the quietest, smartest way to finally get free. And that's the reframe. That old car was never a sign of someone falling behind. It was a sign of someone who already won. If this helped you see your money a little clearer, subscribe for calm, no-hype money breakdowns every week.